Hello there, everyone. Welcome to your current affairs program, The Scoop. I'm Francesca Piribanda. This week, we talk to a young entrepreneur who has embarked on a journey to employ fellow youths through a bus ticketing system for Zambia. And later, we got to the UTH just to make a follow-up on more surgeries being done for heart patients who have been on the waiting list for a very long time. We'll also take a look at the political violence that has been happening in the run-up to the 20th January 2015 presidential election. The University Teaching Hospital, UTH, is on a path to its mandate of providing quality healthcare services to a whole new level. Since its establishment, the institution last week stirred into a new territory when it conducted its first ever open heart surgery. Many other patients with similar conditions have renewed hope as the institution aims to attend to all those who have been on the waiting list for many years. The University Teaching Hospital, UTH, is transforming its position in the country to become a truly first-choice referral hospital able to deal with any medical condition. A few years ago, heart ailments were a puzzle for the institution, but this may be a thing of the past. 1-year-old Walia Lukaki has become the fourth patient to undergo closed heart surgery at the institution in the last 2 weeks since the commencement of heart surgeries. Over 1,000 people are said to be on the waiting list for heart treatment. Walia was born with a hole in her heart. Walia was prepared to go into surgery, and her mother remained waiting outside the theater. Meanwhile, in the preparation room, 56-year-old Rodia Chibandula was next. She has been living with a heart condition known as myxoma since 2010. It was diagnosed in 2012. The condition made her have difficulties in breathing, and she always felt as if she had something on her throat. While Rodia waits for her turn to go into the theater, Professor Kalanda Babajano, with the assistance of Dr. Alexander, are already busy operating on 1-year-old Walia. Her condition is known as PDP, a condition which means that she was born with a hole in her heart. In the surgery, Professor Babajani had to close the space to enable blood flow to the lungs without difficulties. 30 minutes into the procedure, Walia's mother is calm and optimistic. After 50 minutes on the operating table, Walia's operation is complete and she is quickly moved to the intensive care unit for recovery. She is expected to stay there for about 7 days. After a 1-hour break, the heart specialists are back on the table with 56-year-old Rodia. She has a tumor in the upper side of the heart. It grew on the wall that separates the two sides of the heart. In order to perform surgery, Rodia's heart needs to be stopped from pumping blood. A perfusionist prepared the heart-lung machine, which is connected to Rodia's body using tubes. This delicate process alone took about 1 hour. The machine is oxygenating blood and helping Rodia to stay alive. For the first time since she was born, Rodia's heart stopped pumping blood, yet she is still alive with the help of these machines. For more than 2 hours, Rodia's life depended on this machine with the help of a perfusionist who was regulating the blood flow. In order to keep the muscles of the heart alive, some ice was used to normalize the temperature of the heart while doctors located the tumor. Finally, after 3 hours on the operating table, the myxoma, which was the size of an adult's fist, was removed from Rodia's heart. The tumor had been compressing her heart, thereby obstructing the heart function. UTH Managing Director Dr. Lakson Kasonka is aware these strides are no mean achievements for his institution.
The plan is that from now on, with this surgical team you've seen led by Professor Babajano, we should be doing open heart procedures every week. This ought to be part of the routine procedures, the routine complicated surgical procedures in the hospital. So we are targeting at 2 to 3 cases per week, but we shall see how it goes. The demand out there is enormous, there are lots of patients that require to undergo similar open heart procedures. Finances and the materials allowing, we should be doing a lot of procedures every week, because Professor Babajano is here for long term, and he's a surgeon who knows nothing but operating. He would rather spend all his life in Zambia in theater, and is prepared to do that.
For the next coming weeks, the UTH will continue performing these surgeries on heart patients at no cost at all. Zambia's peace has come under threat in the wake of the forthcoming presidential election. Stakeholders are concerned with the cases of violence seen in some parts of the country perpetrated by political cadres. It is for this reason that many are making a clarion call for an immediate end to these skirmishes, as they can plunge the whole country into untold misery.
It is 9 days to go, and political analysts have termed it a two-horse race. Although in total 11 candidates are in the January 20th, 2015 presidential election. UPND's Hakainde Hichilema and PF's Edgar Lungu are seen as the front-runners. The two have put up what is seen as an elaborate campaign trail, reaching and touching many corners of the country. Use of choppers or helicopters has been a big part of their campaigns, helping them reach far and distant places. It remains unclear the source of these choppers, how much has been spent or is being spent in hiring them, information which may remain elusive, there being no law compelling parties to disclose sources of their election funding. Nonetheless, the use of choppers in the campaigns has proved efficient and made the candidates reach areas which ordinarily would have been difficult to reach, especially now being the rainy season. Other than that, the choppers have aided the candidates' campaigns in far-flung areas within the limited time before the poll day, which is now only 9 days away. Messages from the competing camps have been varied and wide, but touching on addressing, among other issues, agriculture, education, mining, governance, and the social ills confronting the country. However, one issue that is threatening the search for the country's 60th president is pockets of violence recorded in some parts of the country. PF has predominantly been at the center of the alleged acts of violence against UPND cadres and officials. The Electoral Commission of Zambia is concerned with the acts of violence and has issued a warning to curtail the campaigns before 19th January 2015 to ensure a peaceful atmosphere prevails. Public Relations Manager Chris Akfuna has since called on the Zambia police to ensure the perpetrators of violence and anyone caught breaking the Electoral Code of Conduct is dealt with firmly. The Commission is also set to hold a meeting with the participating political parties, the church and other stakeholders to address the scourge of violence.
My country! Message aneta bwera nayo kuno sayala tikambatati zomenyana menyana ntawiyendo protest vifunai. While
other stakeholders like 2410 has been out in communities reaching out to the young people with messages of non-violence.
Had a number of these similar related activities since the beginning of December, and we are holding them basically to urge the youth to refrain from violence. We want the youth to be united. We feel that the youth should not be instruments of violence, because at the end of the day they've got a lot of critical issues. Now, the key issues for young people in this campaign and at all times are: one, employment. A lot of young people are unemployed. They don't have access to quality, affordable education and health opportunities. So what we'd like to urge the youth is to utilize this campaign period to critically scrutinize the people who are contending for presidents in this country, and to choose a person who is going to be able to address these issues, as opposed to them being used for short-term activities that are related to the elections, such as engaging in violence.
Violence, if left unchecked, has the potential to escalate and destroy the entire country. Lessons abound of countries that have remained with scars of electoral violence on the African continent. Kenya in 2007 faced the worst electoral violence, in which thousands lost their lives due to the outcome of an election. Many agree elections will come and go, but the country needs to maintain its peace and unity.
This election is not an election where they can actually, be used as political tools of violence, but an election where they can make a very important decision for their lives. It's an important decision that can actually even change the lives of us as youths. It can help us really develop, because at the end of the day, when we talk about the issues of jobs, it can only be answered during a time of an election.
And then peace, just one way, like where there's peace, there's even there is unity. It's a good thing. They may just even continue doing it up to the end of the election.
Mkancha peace kwa sacha mkendendo vota kwa sacha ndeo ngatuvotera uyu ya votera usamenyana nikukatizana chabe abantu bamozi nende benga kambe family.
Human beings are always in the search for solutions to challenges confronting them. It is in the same vein that a young Zambian entrepreneur is cracking his head to address the problem of lack of an efficient bus ticketing system in the country. The best business ideas are born out of frustration. So goes the saying by Richard Branson, proprietor of Virgin Airlines. For a young Zambian entrepreneur, the frustration of trying to buy a bus ticket to Nakonde led him to develop an idea for a bus ticketing system in Zambia. It all started in 2014, as he explains.
I think for us it's about creating what I call the new normal. I think that's what business and technology is about. It's a concept that we call creative destruction. So if you think about the way people travel today by bus, they're used to one way. What we're trying to do is we're trying to show them a different way, and what is a more convenient way, and a more effective way of traveling. And I think for us the goal now going into 2015 is what we call customer acquisition, which is your point exactly. How do you get people to try your new way? And once they try that way, do they tell themselves, my goodness, this is so much better than the way I used to do it. This is the way I'm going to start traveling going forward, and I have to tell my friend. And that is what we're looking to do to try and go forward, because I think there are benefits to what we offer. I think we've talked to the consumers about those benefits. They've even told us, because a lot of what we've done was actually done through market research, speaking down to consumers and saying what would be a convenient way to travel. Okay, so you're not familiar with the internet, but are you familiar with being able to go to a ticket booth in your neighborhood? Can we give you that? And so those are the way we've been thinking about this particular project. And now the challenge is getting people to actually accept the new normal, as we call it. And we're very confident that it will become the new normal once people get used to it.
32-year-old Mawano Kambeu then entered into a competition, the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in 2014, where he pitched his idea to the judges on how the system would operate.
And our solution is to use IT. And there are really two critical components of that solution that I want to cover. The first is distribution, which is about listening to what the customer wants. All these distribution methods allow them to book their bus ticket. And it's about catering to each segment of the market through the different channels. And as a company, we earn a 7% transaction fee from every ticket that is sold. The second component is really about the bus management companies, and I'm going to explain why they would embrace our system. Does anyone know what a 60-seater bus actually costs? Over $500,000. Yet many of the bus companies are still in the dark ages when it comes to running their operations. It's all cash. Tens of thousands of dollars coming in cash, and it's all paper receipt. Does anyone see what the challenge with that actually is? Yeah. The number one issue that we heard from many of the bus companies is how there are actually no control systems. Employee theft is rampant.
Last year's tech competition attracted over 500 applicants from 61 countries in Africa, Asia, Europe, and South America. However, after an expert review, the competition brought together 67 semi-finalists from 23 countries around the world. Mawano emerged second and won $7,500 startup capital to implement his idea.
So the way we think about bus ticket travel, we call it a convenient and reliable way for people to book their bus ticket. It could be through using their phone, it could be going on the internet, it could be by going to an authorized agent, or it could be by even going to a supermarket as an example. So what we've done is we've thought about it from a distribution perspective. We've looked at the mass market and we've said what are the different ways they can actually book their ticket, what are the ways they want, and we've provided those methods. And so each way of booking your ticket actually caters to a different segment of the market. So for someone who's in their office, who's got internet access, who's very familiar with online shopping, they may go online. For people who are very comfortable with their phones, which apparently is 12 million Zambians out of 14 million, they might be comfortable using their cell phones. And for people who want to see something tangible, maybe let them go to a ticket booth as well. So in building our business and building our plan, what we try to do is to try and say, what are the different ways people can, how are the different ways people can book, and let's give them those different methods. And so
back home, he thought of providing employment opportunities for college students while they help him with the ticketing project. He has recruited about 30 students and school leavers whom he is also mentoring while they help with the survey.
Talking to the general public about the importance of technology, how technology can make their lives easier. So these are conversations you're having with people every day. That's what we're here to try and do, touch people. The other is actually in business, is what we call customer acquisition. Okay? As you know, we're starting, right? This is a very new business.
It's been okay, but somehow challenging, because in the field you find both people who are literate and people who are illiterate. So convincing people who are illiterate is so hard, but I've strived so hard to convince even those who are illiterate.
Mawano took time to explain how the system will operate, and he has already set up a pilot project where travelers can book tickets from a booth in different locations.
Is we've actually hired 32 students to work on a market orientation and a market research data collection project. So that's already going out there and creating 30 opportunities for young people. And we're hoping that of those 30, there are a group that we can then bring in to then work permanently when we start building, for example, our customer service center, our data analyst center. So there are a lot of people who've come to us and says, oh no, you're going to create, you're going to not create jobs, but in actual fact we are, both tangibly and intangibly as well, because even the bus companies are going to need to beef up. If they're going to improve their level of service and start implementing IT, they're going to need personnel as well, in addition to what they already have to to work in these areas, be it customer service, could it be business analysts. And I think these are the new types of jobs that young people especially, who are very IT savvy, who are more familiar with modern day technology.
If successful, this innovation will not only be convenient to travelers, but also it will provide employment to some youths in a country where unemployment levels are high. As it stands, over 30 youths have been employed through this project being run by a fellow Zambian youth. His startup business has developed a way for Zambian travelers to reserve and pay for their intercity bus travel with their phones, online, or from an authorized third-party agent. And now a look at the proverb of the week. This proverb says, if there is cause to hate someone, the cause to love has just begun. That is a proverb from Senegal, and it says, if there is a cause to hate someone, the cause to love has just begun. Would love to hear from you. Send us an email at frontoffice@movietv.com. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone here. Goodbye.